Autoline Daily is brought to you by Borg Warner, feel good about driving. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Learn more at hyundaisonata.com.
Welcome to Autoline Daily. Have we got a great show for you today? Later on, we'll get to the latest Autoline poll where we want to know if you would consider buying a diesel. But for now, let's get to the news. 2 years ago, Nissan unveiled the taxi version of its NV200 van. New York City named it its Taxi of Tomorrow and mandated that the city's taxi fleet switch over to it. But the New York Times reports that a lawsuit filed by the Greater New York Taxi Association could stop the Taxi of Tomorrow dead in its tracks. The cabbies point to a little-known part of the city's code that said all future taxis had to be hybrids, and the NV200 is not a hybrid. Activists for disability rights also complain that it's not wheelchair accessible either, and so the Taxi of Tomorrow could be tied up in litigation for a long time to come. Well, finally, the production version of the Alfa Romeo 4C hits the Geneva Auto Show next month. As you may remember, the 4C is a compact, mid-engine, rear-drive, two-seater, and try saying that 5 times fast. Its power-to-weight ratio of less than 4 kilograms per horsepower, or less than 10 pounds, puts it in the supercar category. That's thanks to a carbon fiber chassis and aluminum components. Go power comes from a 1750cc all-aluminum turbocharged 4-cylinder mated to a twin dry-clutch transmission. The 4C will be built at the Maserati plant in Modena and goes on sale later this year. Even though automakers spend billions on research and development every year, there's probably more innovation and new technology that comes from supplier companies. So we're going to start featuring a new segment every week called New Technology that looks at some of those developments. Yesterday, I was at one of Federal-Mogul's tech centers that gets into technology for engines. They're working on what they call ACIS, which stands for Advanced Corona Ignition System. Federal-Mogul owns Champion Spark Plug, but one day ACIS could relegate spark plugs to a display in a museum because it can allow an engine to run much leaner and with a lot more exhaust gas recirculation.
At that point in time, we were able to get fuel-air mixtures basically instead of about 15 to 1 where we run today, somewhere closer to 30 to 1. We're able to see exhaust gas recirculation rates instead of being limited to about 15 to 20% where conventional ignition technology is limited today, to something more like in the 30 to 40% range.
Instead of a spark coming from a 1 millimeter gap on a spark plug, ACIS shoots out what looks like lightning bolts.
We have very large filling of the chamber, very long streamers, and you can just sort of visualize combustion occurring, initiating at all the points along all the streamers here.
Even more amazing, it's totally safe. Try doing this with a spark plug, and it'll knock you to the ground if it doesn't stop your heart. ACIS can really help improve fuel economy and reduce emissions. So far, Federal-Mogul is working with 20 customers on this technology and says it could be in full production sometime around 2017. Of course, it's not as if automakers don't come up with any innovation on their own. A number of years ago, we had the head of R&D at General Motors show us their research into what they call shape memory alloys, or SMA. These are metals and plastics that can be stretched out and then, with a little bit of heat, will return to their former shape. Well, to our knowledge, looks like the new Corvette Stingray is the first production car in the world to use shape memory alloys.
It's a wire that actually remembers its original state, so we can stretch it out and then heat it up and it goes back to it. We use that transformation from the stretched state to its original state to actually do work within the vehicle. Okay? And there we go. As you can see, it returns. So you can see it returned back to its original form now, and now it's actually much stiffer as well. So that's where we get the work output for the actuator. and the actual application itself is called the active hatch vent. Let me give you an example of how that works here. So when I press the button here, I'm actually putting a little bit of current through the SMA wire. It heats up, stretches out a return spring, and keeps the vanes of the vent articulated and open for as long as someone's working in the back of the vehicle, either loading groceries, golf clubs, something like that. Then as soon as they close the hatch, we have this open. Air rushes out, so everything closes smoothly and nicely. And then we just remove the power from the wire. It slowly cools back to its original state and gets stretched back out to its original form.
And now it's time for another Autoline poll. On the latest episode of Autoline After Hours, we discuss the debut of the Chevrolet Cruze diesel with Chevy's Josh Tavel. We're wondering if this could be a watershed moment for diesel passenger cars in the U.S., so here's the question. Excluding heavy-duty pickups, would you consider a diesel for your next vehicle? As always, just to make your vote heard, just click the link below today's show on Autoline.tv. And don't forget, we've made it easy to send this poll to your friends. Simply copy and paste the link at the bottom. Don't hesitate because we'll be revealing the results on this Thursday's episode.
I'm Isaac Bouchard in Austin, Texas. Mazda's got something new in its stable and we're about to take it out for a ride. That report coming up next.
Dow Automotive Systems, driving solutions in automotive, commercial transportation, and aftermarket with innovative products like Betamate structural adhesives. Lighter, stronger, safer. DowBetamate.com.
The new 6 is an incredibly important car to Mazda. That's why it's the second product built from the ground up with SkyActiv technologies throughout. Production methodologies, everything about the car is SkyActiv. This gives the driver a variety of improvements over the outgoing model.
We've got a lot more torque everywhere in the power band, and the transmission itself is a lot more direct and connected feeling. So you're going to notice that the acceleration performance is kind of crisper and easier to drive. At the same time, we've really evolved the chassis. We've taken advantage of that stronger and lighter body. We've kind of significantly made more aggressive the suspension geometry in the front. So you're going to notice that the steering feel has even more feedback and is more natural feeling than the previous generation. And then when you buy the car, hopefully, what you're going to notice is that your real-world fuel economy is substantially better than it was with the previous generation. So it's kind of like no compromise, right? We're giving you the improved fuel economy, and we've improved the driving experience.
But the improvements aren't just hidden away under the body. Many of them are here on display in the interior where you'll see them every day. From the richly textured moldings to the classy details and elegant design, these are all things that Mazda believes will help the 6 score with its target demographic.
The 2014 Mazda 6 is incredibly important for us here in the U.S. market. That's for a number of reasons. The primary reason is that we really need to establish our flagship in the critical CD segment in the U.S. market, mainly because it's the second largest segment in the entire industry. And we also need to improve our loyalty as well as our retention. Mazda typically has garnered a fantastic customer, so a younger and more professional and highly educated customer. And currently with the Mazda 3, we need an aspirational vehicle within our lineup when they change life stage and need to move up to a mid-size family sedan.
Mazda is known for building great drivers' cars, and the new 6 upholds that reputation. Its connected steering feel, taut handling, slick shifting gearboxes, and willing engines mark it out as something special. It also adds a welcome dose of refinement and now looks as good as it drives, meaning that the new Mazda 6 is undeniably one of the best cars in the segment. It's in dealerships now. From Austin, Texas, I'm Isaac Bouchard for Autoline Daily.
Hey, don't forget to join us Thursday night for Autoline After Hours. Our guest will be John Davis, the chief engineer for the Ford C-Max Energy. So join me and the auto extremist Peter DeLorenzo for some of the best insider viewpoints in the business. And that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.